Hi YouTube land, how you doing? Today I'm going to do a review of the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. I happen to have the third edition of this particular deck, and like my other reviews, I'm going to be somewhat untraditional, and like this deck, somewhat untraditional, in that I'm not going to do a flip through of all the images for you, so if that's what you're looking for, this isn't necessarily the video for you. What I prefer to do instead is share with you how the deck reads for me and go over some of the important elements in the deck, which for me, number one is cardstock. So I want to share that with you. So let me just go through some of the basics. First, it does come in this gorgeous, really thick box, standard for Baba Studio in their later editions. Clam case, right? Fabulous. It happens to have two lovers cards. This one, two different versions. So I've just chosen the one that I happen to prefer. And then as it relates to cardstock, this is the back, completely reversible, which is really important for me. I think that the Baba Studios cardstock is just like butter, okay? Everything here matte finish. You can see the images are matte finish. They just feel like butter in your hands. They're thin but very strong, very resilient, so I'm able to rifle shuffle them. I know some of you are going nuts and saying, no, Lorraine, don't rifle shuffle anything. We hate that. But I can do it here with this deck, and I've had absolutely no problem. They slide like butter, nothing sticks together, and this is right out of the box, okay? This particular deck is based on Rider-Waite, but you will find that though it's Rider-Waite inspired, they're not a direct Rider-Waite clone. So if you are looking for a Rider-Waite clone, this is probably not the one for you, but if you are familiar with Rider-Waite and like a nod to Rider-Waite, then you're going to find this deck to be fascinating. Let's just start with this one. Oh my gosh, the sun, okay? Definitely a nod to the Rider-Waite child on the horse. But will you look at how hauntingly beautiful this image is? The streams of light that are coming down here, the look on the child's face of just sheer determination. And it's, I don't know, it's haunting and creepy and beautiful at the same time. And I think what's nice about this particular deck is it does help for us to address our shadow side. I like to use the deck in particular for energy vampire readings. Again, this is not going to be a deck for everybody. This is a deck for people that are ready to address their shadow side and really don't mind the hauntingly beautiful images. It's dark. You can see how when it's laid out, it's a dark feel, dark colors, it draws you in, it has these beautiful subtleties, but look at the way they play with light. Look at those candles. I mean, it nearly takes your breath away how vibrant it is and how much it stands out. So I think when you're talking about intuitive readings, this is going to draw your eye to places and give you messages like you haven't seen before. This in particular, the Nine of Cups, and yet look at the moon. It speaks to intuition to me. Yes, this is someone who looks quite self-satisfied. Here I'm seeing it looks like absinthe to me in the cup and the lights here. So it's going to give you different messaging than the Nine of Cups, and yet at the same time, you're definitely going to feel the nod to Rider-Waite. So I wanted to show you how these show up in a reading and how they have for me. I do use these a lot with relationship readings. And the reason is that a lot of times energy vampires show up in our relationships, meaning people that kind of draw the energy from us, and we as empaths or readers or spiritual healers or what have you want to help so much that sometimes what we do is we allow people to walk all over us. So if that's the case for you, I want you to consider getting this deck for your shadow readings. It really helps to identify what's going on. So here's what I started with. I started with a reading for us. Again, we are represented by the High Priestess. This is for our community. And I wanted to find out, where are the energy vampires showing up for us right now? And I did another video earlier today, and would you know, the High Priestess showed up for me in reverse there too. So here she is again saying, the energy vampires are showing up for you in yourself. Okay, so you're kind of draining your own energy, perhaps not seeing yourself in the mirror like you should. And we have here, I got 3 reversed cards. So there is a little bit of a heavy energy as it relates to vampires, and I think that makes sense. We have it in the Page of Pentacles, Judgment, and the Seven of Swords. So I think it's showing up in a couple of areas of your life. Your mind, your finances or your physical reality. And Judgment reversed just really, really speaks to me that you're judging yourself too harshly. So if you take a look at this, there's this really hauntingly gorgeous character here who is, facing that Judgment Day. And, when all of us feel like, did I do enough in this life? Am I doing enough in this life? Or did I waste my time here? And then there is this beautiful angel who is unconditionally accepting and saying whatever you experienced in this lifetime is as it should be. So right now, our energy vampires are showing up in the way that we so harshly judge ourselves. We're our own worst critics. It's also showing up here in the Page of Pentacles. Look at how gorgeous she is. Again, a nod to the Rider-Waite, the nice big pentacle. She's just rather stoic. She's not moving a whole lot, so there's that energy of earth there. But we don't give ourselves enough credit. We just kind of are so scared of our own talents and our own abilities that we just stand in protection of ourselves. Okay, so we hold ourselves back in judgment, and for moving forward, we just don't believe that the great news is going to be there. I mean, look, we've got these beautiful flowers. We have this beautiful color. But again, this just seems very heavy, doesn't it? The finances are weighting down on us. So the reality of perhaps sharing our talents or getting out there in the world and making a business from sharing our tarot is holding us back because we judge ourselves too harshly. We also don't trust ourselves. So look at the Seven of Swords. And again, I'll turn this right side up so you can see her. Gosh, just the way she is glancing over her shoulder, stealing this little book, occult book of secrets, okay? And then there's this red light up here in the tower, which I think is absolutely palpable. It's as if she's escaped with the secrets. We have them, we know what they are, but we're constantly looking over our shoulder. We don't even trust. We don't trust ourselves. We don't trust others. Perhaps we've been taken advantage of in the past. And all of these images come from the Victorian era. And they're not any one particular character in each one, but they're from old Victorian postcards, is my understanding. And I just love the shadows of this. So it has the feeling, again, of the Seven of Swords from Rider-Waite. But again, I think you get so much more depth because the emotions that these cards show are so palpable. It's hard to walk away from them. It truly, truly is. So here we see that we're not trusting. We know we have these gifts. Okay, we know we have these wonderful gifts. We judge ourselves terribly harshly because we don't know if we're meant to use them in this life. And if we're meant to use them in this life and we don't, what happens to us? And then we have this, as a result, we just keep to ourselves. We keep the money at bay. We don't charge any money for it, or we don't charge enough sometimes. We don't value ourselves enough sometimes because we are so concerned about helping others. Too many of us in this community believe that we're supposed to be giving away our gifts for free. Okay, excuse the air quotes there, but I think it's really important. Giving our gifts away for free. When in reality, there's no way we can give of ourselves until we trust ourselves, answer our call, and accept funds in exchange for our gifts and our skills. We have to be able to live. When we live and when we're abundant, we can help other people to be abundant too. Do you see how these really point to the energy vampires? And look at the way that these are. They evoke such emotion. Some are looking directly at us. She is challenging us, is she not? Look at her. She is challenging us to accept the good in our life, to accept good fortune in our life, even if it's small, to accept something. This one, that palpable feeling of, my gosh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing it well enough. And this one, where she's looking over her shoulder. My gosh, it reminds me of those dolls where you walk along, or those pictures. Do you remember that? You walk along and their eyes follow you. Creepy. Okay, so that's part of the reason that this deck, I think, is not good for every single reading, is because some people don't like to see the shadow side. I love looking at the shadow side because I think really that is when we face the dark, is when we become aware of it and we can do something about it. I hate to leave you with a reading if I don't give you advice. So if you're going to hold on by the magic of video, poof, poof, I'm going to come back with a reading and talk about some advice and how we can take this forward. And we're back. And this is the rest of the reading with the Bohemian Gothic Tarot by Baba Studio. So in the last portion of the video, we were talking a little bit about our own inner energy vampires and how we steal our own beautiful energy from us and how that's showing up in our lives right now, especially as it relates to our practice of being spiritual, giving our gifts, doing tarot readings for other people. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of advice. And again, I want to show you how hauntingly beautiful the deck is, but I also want you to see in the dark images how their use of light really draws your eye in. You cannot help but look at this image and be drawn to the hermit's lamp. I mean, it's just so palpable. It's calling you. It's almost like it has its own heartbeat, and you are compelled to pick it up. This is a great way to read this deck intuitively. This happens to be one of the things not to do as we are going forward, okay? So I want you to see this card upright. A beautiful depiction, almost a direct Rider-Waite interpretation, okay? The hermit holding up the lamp. But when he was turned around, and in comparison to all the other cards, that lamp just really shined. So when I saw it reversed as showed up for us, I really felt like one of the things that we are not to do going forward is extinguish our light. Don't dim your light to meet the darkness of another person. Don't isolate yourself anymore, okay? Here's the energy of where we currently are, and it's the moon reversed. And we are scared of our own shadow. We are scared of our own power. We are scared of what we might become. And yet, if we're drawn to the tarot, if we're drawn to this deck, it's because we're supposed to look at the shadow side and we can help another to face this darkness. Okay, again, you're going to see the nod to the Rider-Waite. You've got the wolf right here. You've got the moon. You've got another figure back here. It's not a direct correlation to the Rider-Waite. It's a nod to the Rider-Waite. But again, look at howling at that moon. It is really time to share our voice. But right now, when you have it upside down, reversed, it just feels like we are clouding our voice. So not only are we dimming our light, but we're quieting our voice and we're not facing the shadows, okay? So this is what not to do. This is where we currently are. This is what to do. Again, 5 of Swords here. Nod to Rider-Waite. You can kind of feel the whole bully card thing, right? But what to do, I think, is to face challenges differently. Let's not see them as challenges. It looks almost as if she is going to woo the werewolf, right? Just face it head on. Go right into the fear. If you know me, you know that I love The Wizard of Oz. And The Wizard of Oz, it's all about overcoming the witch, isn't it? She wants to steal our shoes, which is our absolute superpower. And in this case, we have the same thing. Others want to steal our light. They want to steal our shoes. They wish they had the power that we have. All we have to do is pour water on the witch and she dissolves. If you remember that, and you can see here, all she has to do is kind of woo the werewolf, and she has access to the castle. Right up here, okay? So this is about us heading our fears facing our fears head on, excuse me. And when we can do that, then what happens is we have this glorious 8 of Wands. Again, let me talk about the color in this deck. It's all very dark. You have all these gargoyles coming all in this area. Again, a nod to the Rider-Waite. You can feel the energy going right through the statue. In fact, it's knocking his head right off, right? But then you've got this beautiful lion here that kind of, again, like a beacon just speaking to you. It's emotionally, it grabs you and it draws you in, and then you have this gorgeous sunset behind you, okay? So if you can go through this, when you've got all of your energy going in one direction, then the sunset is on the horizon there. That means your light, your truth can come to rise again, okay? When the light comes out, the vampires go away. So this is how we get to releasing our energy vampires. We never hide our light. If we hide our light, the vampires love the dark, don't they? We don't want to do that. So we want to show our light. So don't hide your light, and know that when you do, the sun rises again. Everything is going to move forward for you swiftly. Things are going to line up. All of your values come to be, and you are going to have this beautiful expression available to you when you choose to shine your light and face the fears. Face the fears. The darkness goes away. Even the moon. Come on, it's cyclical. The moon is going to be in the night, but in the morning, the sunrise is going to come up. And I love how these lined up, the moon right into the sunrise for the next day. And at the bottom of the deck, I had the Page of Cups. Listen, just become a student of your intuition, right? Have this kind of beautiful innocence. I don't know if you can see her face all that well. She's curious. Again, these evoke such gorgeous emotion. I think the intuitive reading for these comes from the feeling that they evoke, more so than all of the symbology. It's the little pops. It's the pops of things. It's the way their eyes look. It's the way that the chin is turned. It's the way that she delicately steps down the steps, right? It's clear that she's younger. She's slightly cautious, but at the same time, she's open and she's going to be walking forward, right? She's uninhibited in the way that she moves forward. So I think that is how all the messaging comes through in the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. It does take a little bit to sit with it and draw the messages out, to allow the pops of color to speak to you, to allow the emotion and the framing of these little vignettes to send messages to you, again, that nod to the Rider-Waite, but are going to ask you to look, really look at the shadow side. You know, it's easy to say, I don't do dark decks. I'm not going to read dark decks. They're too hard for me, or they're too scary, or my clients don't like them. Let me tell you, all of my clients have absolutely loved the Bohemian Gothic. Once I learned how to read it for them, once I learned how to go with them as they went in to pour water on the witch, right? To shine their light so that they could come out of the moon experience and get to that Eight of Wands feeling of freedom and flow in their lives. Most are very, very appreciative to have this, and it works great for energy vampire readings. It works great for shadow side readings. It's evocative, and it's remarkably soft at the same time. It's almost not as direct as some other decks. I was kind of surprised because it's really not that dark. But if someone doesn't like that dark feel, doesn't like the kind of creepy, some people say that these are creepy, right? Creepy faces. I mean, come on, the Hermit is maybe a little off-putting, but you guys like the Walking Dead, so come on. This is all good, isn't it? All right. I hope that you will go out and get the Bohemian Gothic Tarot, that you will use it for your shadow readings, that you will use it to find out what the energy vampires are in your life. And as my community, I'm telling you, stop dimming your light to meet the darkness of another. Shine instead. Release yourself from your own illusions. Go ahead and face the fears. They're really not going to be as bad as you thought they were going to be, and you are about to see a new horizon in your life. All right? I will see you soon. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Come check me out at glindasguidance.com. Love you guys.